Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Vinyl Den After Hours. My name is Nick.
I'm Ian.
So like always, if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you give us the old thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, all the YouTube-y kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
I'm not sure, but by the time this video is up, we probably won't have audio up on podcast apps, but they will be eventually. If you'd rather listen to us instead of watch us, you can always go on Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcast and subscribe on there. But what's been going on, Ian? It's been, 6 weeks since we recorded a podcast, I think?
Yeah, something like that. It's been a while.
So I guess let's backtrack a little bit real quick. So we started podcasting way back in January of 2017. Podcasts changed names and what we did a couple of different times. And then our last podcast we were doing, which was the Entertainment Now podcast, just finally wrapped up within, I think it was probably 6 weeks ago that we recorded our last episode.
Sure.
I wanted to kind of go back because somebody messaged me. Someone reached out and said, hey, what happened with the last episode of the Entertainment Now podcast?
Yeah.
So we had a really good conversation. I had this really good idea of wrapping up the whole show. So the Entertainment Now podcast was about movies and streaming and all that kind of stuff, anything like entertainment based. So I thought for the last episode, we would kind of discuss something that goes on in our lives a little bit. So we both work in the hospital. We both work in the emergency department. We get to see lots of crazy stuff. So the whole last episode of the Entertainment Now podcast was us talking about stories about the hospital.
Stories from the ER.
Stories from the ER. And then after I started editing it, I started thinking to myself, hey, we didn't we didn't break any privacy laws, like blatantly. But I think there was a couple times in the conversation where we kind of got a little close. So,
right.
And I didn't want to do anything to jeopardize our employment or my license or anything like that. So we decided not to release the final episode, which sucks because it ended up being really good. It was a great conversation.
We had some fun with it. Yeah.
But yeah, so if you're out there and you're like, hey, I've been following you guys on Life in General and Entertainment Now and everything else you guys have done over the last 7 years, and we were like, for the last 5 or 6 episodes of Entertainment Now, we were like building up towards the last episode, and then we were like, next week's gonna be the last episode, and then we didn't release anything. So
in 30 years we'll do a documentary about the mythological lost episode.
The lost episode. I will say that is not the first time that's happened.
No, we've had a couple that those are tech issues though, right? Weren't they?
Yeah. So when we were doing Life in General, it was 6 months into us doing a podcast. It was late. It's probably mid to late 2017. We recorded a couple episodes, and I don't know how, but I somehow deleted them. And
so it wasn't tech issues. It was you being an idiot.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
Okay.
I feel like my I've always been kind of tech savvy, but I think as far as this kind of stuff goes, I've grown a lot more in my knowledge of audio and video recording and editing and all that stuff a lot since 2017. So hopefully I don't run into that issue again.
Right.
So yeah, I kind of want to just throw that out there.
Yeah, I don't want to have to fire you from the show, Nick.
You're fired.
You're fired.
Get out of here.
Get out of here.
And then Ian will just be sitting here by himself with nothing to say.
Yeah, viewership will drop considerably if that's the case.
I will say that we've had a really positive response so far to the new YouTube channel. And I want to thank all the Vinyl Den subscribers who have come over and subscribed to the Vinyl Den After Hours. Hopefully we can have the same kind of fun that we have, I guess, the same fun we've had on our previous podcast. I will say, I know Ian is not a huge fan of the structure that we have on the Vinyl Den.
I don't know. I'm not a big structure guy. I'm more of I have, ADD. So it's when it's structured, you got to focus. And if, my personality is more like, ooh, squirrel, that's kind of how I feel more comfortable. So
But I think the good thing I'm really looking forward to on here is because there's been, I guess I should kind of go back to like what the Vinyl Den was born from. So the Vinyl Den came from an episode. So when we were doing Life in General, the very first episode every month was a music related episode. And we would do a couple of different things in that music podcast episode. Like we would do a part where I would talk about albums I'm looking forward to for that month are being released. And then that became the Tuesday new release video. There would be a section of the podcast where I would talk about albums that we picked up that month. That kind of became the Thursday video. And then the very last section of the podcast was just a general music discussion. And that's what the Sunday videos are. So the way that the Vinyl Den is structured, it all came from the podcast. But as far as like the discussion part goes, there's been a lot of episodes. I think we're up to almost 700 videos that we've done on the Vinyl Den YouTube channel. But there's been a lot of those conversations that we've had where it's hard to say, at least on my part, what I want to say or everything I want to say about a topic in a short 10 to 12 minute video, because once you get outside of that, your viewership really drops. And it's really, it's at least in my mind, it's not worth it to have like longer videos like that on that YouTube channel because our viewers just don't watch them. So I thought that having a vehicle like this, having the Vinyl Den After Hours, where it's more like a conversation, that would happen between store employees after the store closes, kind of the idea I had.
Right.
That it would give us the ability to kind of expand on some of the stuff that, at least, that I'm interested in talking about. I don't know how you kind of feel about it.
I'm here for the ride, but I like more free form conversation for sure.
And that's exactly what I envisioned for this. It's what we do on the Vinyl Den, but more open, more
Right.
free form, and it's not so structured, which I know you're a big fan of.
Yeah. I think some of our best conversations is where we veer off into less related topics sometimes.
I will say, if you've never listened to any of our podcasts, we will have a topic every week. I'm not going to guarantee that we get to that topic every week.
Right.
I will say that we're I think with Entertainment Now, I think we were at least like in the 80% to 85% range where we'd get to our topic. But there's a lot of times where we're just going to start talking about things and go off on a side tangent and never get to it. I plan on having a music topic for every episode. At least that's the way it's planned. So we'll see how it happens. So
the first few will probably be fine because we'll be getting our new show legs.
Yeah,
we'll get to the topics pretty quickly. But after a while, it'll get to the point where you'll be like, "Hey, what's going on?" I'll be like, "Hey, so this happened." And you'll be like, spend 30 minutes talking about that.
I will say there have been. So I come with a piece of paper every episode.
Is it blank like that?
No. There's stuff written on the backside.
Oh, okay.
With like side topics. I have had episodes where I've gone into to record and had an entire page worth of side topics. So I've only got a couple of points to bring up, but we'll see.
For this episode, you mean?
For this, well, maybe we'll get to it next episode. Maybe at least with this one, I'll try to be a little more structured in what I wanted to do. But
structured. It's a bad word for me.
Oh no. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to throw
my asshole's clenching. I can't handle it.
What the nexus of of this idea or entity was, I guess.
Right.
So, what's been going on, Ian? It's been, like I said, it's been weeks since we've recorded. Anything new going on with you?
Not
That's
really.
The other thing is, that's the other thing I should kind of throw out there is like for the past 6 years, we've worked together,
right?
But now I'm on days now, which is the first time I've worked days in at least at the hospital ever. Right. So we work completely opposite shifts, so we don't even see each other at work.
No,
anymore.
If I do, it's because you're walking in and I'm walking out. So
yeah,
or vice versa.
Yeah.
Honestly, no. The last several weeks have been kind of just boring. I mean, nothing new going on. I'm really just kind of riding it out for my next vacation, which is in September.
Yeah.
So
mine's actually coming up. we're recording this a little early, so by the time this airs, I'll actually be on vacation when this airs. But
Okay.
so yeah, I'm looking forward to that also. But I don't know. I guess let's kind of get to part of something I wanted to talk about. Okay. So this is something we've done. We did a couple of episodes of Entertainment Now where I think I did this little bit. But it's a little game I wanted to play.
You and your games.
Me and my games.
So many games. All right.
Let's see if I can pull this up on my iPad here. We're gonna go back in time, Ian. We're gonna play the back in time Billboard game. How about that?
Ooh.
So let's go back to.
Do we have to wait for the clock tower to get struck by lightning to get back?
So let's go back to the week of the. So this episode will come out on what I say, August 2nd, I think is when this episode comes out. Or
Yeah,
no, I'm sorry, August 7th. So we're gonna go a couple of days before that, way back in time. So the week of August 5th, 1978. Okay. There's so many different Billboard charts, right? The Billboard 200, I think, is kind of the definitive chart because it kind of encapsulates everything musically. So let's go back. August 5th, 1978. What do you think the number one album that week was?
Well, let's see. I was about 5.5 months old, so what was I listening to then? So let's see. 78. That would have been. Was the soundtrack to Grease anywhere on there?
Oh shit! That's actually really good, Ian. That was number one. The soundtrack, the Grease soundtrack, was number one. I was actually surprised. I thought I was gonna have to give you some hints to get that.
No.
The number one album that week had been on the charts for 12 weeks. Was the Grease soundtrack. Do you know what number two was?
That might be a little tougher. 78.
It was a 60s band. A very popular 60s band.
And it was still the band unit?
Correct.
The Stones?
Okay. What album?
Oh, God. I don't remember what came out in 78.
At that point, it had been on the charts for 7 weeks. It peaked at number one. It was at number two this week.
Oh, shit. I don't remember what album came out in 78.
It was famous for having a bunch of actresses' faces on the cover of it that they had to remove. And they put cutouts of the band members' faces on it. Some Girls.
Oh.
Some Girls was number two.
Okay.
Good album.
Yeah.
I think one of the last really good, even though there's some you go on there and read the lyrics to some of those songs.
Oh yeah.
Some really questionable stuff going on in that album.
The Stones were problematic for most of their career in terms of lyrics and stuff,
Number three is an album that I don't know if I've ever listened to before. It's Natural High by the Commodores. I like Commodores. I like some of their stuff. I like their hits though. I don't know if I've ever actually I think the only thing I have actually, I think I have a copy of this album. Somebody gave it to me though. I didn't actually buy it. I think the only thing I have from the Commodores is just a greatest hits compilation.
Yeah, I don't have anything by the Commodores.
Number four is a great one. Number four is Double Vision by Foreigner.
Yeah.
5 is Darkness on the Edge of Town by Bruce Springsteen. Get Bob Seger, Stranger in Town at number 6. Number 7, Shadow Dancing by Andy Gibb. That's the thing is 78 was like the
tail end of the disco thing.
Yeah, tail end of the disco thing. Disco wasn't around for really long.
No, well, it kind of morphed into other things,
Yeah.
Some of it went pop, some of it went R&B, and it kind of it filtered out from itself into other things.
Yeah. Some surprising albums on here, but Seriously Folks by Joe Walsh was down number 11. The Stranger by Billy Joel was number 17.
Yeah.
Have you ever listened to A Taste of Honey? I don't think I've ever listened to them. They were number 20 that week.
Huh. No, I've never listened.
Asia by Steely Dan. So I am not a big Steely Dan fan. By the way, it was number 27 that week. Asia's not a bad album, though. I picked up on CD not too long ago. I wasn't going to spend the money to get it on vinyl.
Yeah.
I picked it up. There's a store in Ann Arbor that sells everything for, I think it's $1.50 now. Or maybe they just raised the price up to $2. Regardless, you can go on there and buy they've got thousands of CDs.
Excuse me.
That you can pick up for dirt cheap. I found a copy of Asia in there, so I picked that up not too long ago. It's the first time I've listened to the album in probably maybe 15 years, 10 or 15 years at least.
Yeah, I've never actually listened to a full Steely Dan album. I only know whatever they played on the radio.
Yeah, and like Asia's a good album. Like I said, I would never spend there was that UHQR release that just came out last year. I mean, people were paying $150 for that album, and it's like,
I mean, if you like Steely Dan, it's probably worth it, but it's
yeah.
not.
There was somebody at work not too long ago. It was probably like last year. They were like, "Hey, they was asking me about like bands and music, and they were like, "Hey, what do you think about this band? What do you think about that band?" And then I was like, "Oh, they're okay." And they're like, "Well, what do you think about Steely Dan? You guys don't talk about Steely Dan at all." And I was like, "Yeah, there's a reason why we don't talk about Steely Dan at all."
I mean, like I said, I only know their whatever tracks have been played on the radio, but
yeah,
it doesn't. Maybe I should give them more of a listen.
Yeah,
it's like Supertramp. I know Supertramp some of their songs, but I've never really listened to their catalog.
Yeah.
So.
The self-titled album by David Gilmour was 36 that week.
Is that the one where it's like he's like in the background? There's a house.
There's like a barn or something behind it. Yeah, I've got it. It's an okay album. I will say that just kind of scrolling down through the top 200, I feel like that part of 1978 was kind of a weak period. There's not a lot of really great albums on here. I mean, Rumors was at 59.
That had been holding out since
that was on the charts for 76 weeks at that point.
Yeah, or 76 when that came out.
So. Infinity by Journey was at 62. Point of No Return was at 64.
That's big one for me. But that, if you're talking 78, that came out in 77.
Yeah,
so that had been on for several weeks or several.
Yeah, there's a lot of albums like that. Van Halen's self-titled album was at 66, which ended up going. I know it got up into the top 20, but I don't remember what the peak position was for their album. Good album. I mean, that's another band I'm not a huge fan of, but their debut album I think is one of the shining moments I think in their career. At least as far as like Eddie Van Halen goes, I feel like his entire like persona was built
around that album,
off of those first couple of Van Halen albums. And then
I don't know. Van Halen 2 and Women and Children First. And Fair Warning. Honestly, I've never listened to Fair Warning or Women and Children First ever.
Yeah, I think there's definitely some good stuff on those two albums. I think their self-titled album in 1984 are definitely the crown jewels of the David Lee Roth era. I think a lot of his his like I said his persona was built off of those couple of albums, and then for like the later albums into the like middle part of the Van Hagar era, I feel like he kind of played it safe and he didn't take as many chances musically as he did earlier in his career. I mean, you listen to Eruption off of their first album; it's incredible.
Well, he was also now sharing guitar duties and doubling on keyboards and stuff.
That's true.
So that probably had a lot to do with it because Sammy was playing a lot of guitar in that too.
Yeah, I'm sure there was some of that definitely played into it, but I think Eddie Van Halen is a great guitarist.
Yes.
Do I think he's the greatest guitarist of all time?
No.
Like he's often held up to be. I don't see it, but
no.
Music is so subjective.
It is.
Everyone.
I honestly don't even know if I could tell you who I think is the best guitarist in the
world. For me, it's Jimi Hendrix, hands down.
Yeah, I don't even know
as far as playing style and innovation and what he did. And
we could have been looking at Jimmy in that same spot as had he not passed away. Would we be looking at Jimmy the same way we look at Eddie?
Yeah. And that's possible.
He could have been peaked right there, and we would never have known.
That's true.
So
you're right, because I probably have a different opinion of Eddie Van Halen if he never made another album after 1984.
Right, exactly. So it's really hard to say. That's probably why I don't, because you throw in the subjectiveness of it anyway, and then you hear, oh man, that guitar is really good, or that solo is fantastic.
Yeah.
But then that could be, you could see Clapton's guitar. I think Clapton's hugely overrated, but
Yeah, I think
just as an
yeah, I would
example,
agree
but
with that.
you see like a Clapton guitar solo, and you're like, wow, that's fantastic. But then you go and see Prince do the guitar solo on While My Guitar Gently Weeps live, and you're like, oh God,
Yeah.
Clapton's an amateur,
Yeah.
So
I would say that Prince solo, that Prince performance in that ensemble performance, it was I think it was during George Harrison's Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction is what
it was definitely the
what
Hall
that
of Fame. I don't
performance
remember
was.
what it was for, but
If you have not seen that, I highly recommend checking it out.
absolutely,
I think it's probably some of the best guitar work of all time. And you've got some great guitarists on stage with him.
yeah,
And they're even like in awe of what he's doing.
right,
Like it's incredible.
yeah.
I've said for a long time that being the guitarist in Prince's band was probably one of the hardest jobs in music, because
or the easiest jobs, because you didn't really have to do anything, because Prince was doing all the heavy lifting anyway.
Well, I'm saying that I think it's probably the hardest because you're on stage every night with somebody who is immensely more talented at your instrument than you are.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
So, speaking of like lists and things like that, there was one. So this was posted in a couple of different Facebook groups. It did end up getting posted in ours also. Someone posted a list of the top 20 drummers of all time. I don't know if you saw this.
I did not. No.
So people were like losing their mind. More so in other groups than in ours, but like people were absolutely losing their mind about this top 20 list.
Okay.
And I like read down through a list. I'm like, okay, like I could see some of this, but it didn't really seem like it seemed like a list of like the quote unquote most popular drummers of all time, not necessarily the best.
Right.
And then I like clicked on the photo, and like right in the middle of the photo, you see written in really small letters that the list was made by Chat GPT. And I'm like, well, no wonder this list sucks. Like,
right.
There's nothing,
because they're only going to go with the people that are that get a lot of talk.
Yes, absolutely.
Because that's another thing. Even I couldn't even tell you who I think the best drummer is, because you drumming is one of those things where there's probably a best punk drummer, there's probably a best rock drummer, there's probably a best jazz drummer. There's
yeah,
you can't have just one universal best drummer overall, in my opinion.
I mean, there's two. There's actually no. I know who my who I think. I think John Bonham is the best drummer, regardless of genre, of all time. And I think after that, I think I could get a little bit more into this genre versus that genre. But as far as like overall skill and performance and what he meant not only to drummers that he influenced, but like in music in general, like Led Zeppelin without John Bonham would not have been Led Zeppelin, I don't think.
Yeah.
So that's why I think he's clearly, at least in my opinion, the best drummer of all time. But yeah, you can put Neil Peart and a lot of other guys in that conversation for sure also. But
yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say that. I think Neil Peart is one of the best progressive rock drummers by far.
Yeah.
In terms of technical skill and virtuosity, but could he just do? I mean, he probably could just do a basic punk drumming, but would he be as good at punk drumming as Travis Barker?
Yeah,
because it's not his type. It's not his style.
Yeah, it's not his style.
That's kind of why I feel like and I wouldn't even go as far as say Travis Barker's the best punk drummer, but
I think he is.
Yeah, I mean, he might be.
Yeah.
But just as an example,
I think what makes him such a good drummer is his versatility, because he is somebody that doesn't necessarily stick to one genre.
Right.
I mean, he even does like hip hop drumming and a lot of other stuff also. So,
right.
And that's kind of why I look at John Bonham a little differently than all the other drummers out there, is because I feel like he is somebody that was talented enough to play so many different styles.
Right.
Even though like he could play multiple styles of drumming, but you always knew it was John Bonham, you know.
Yeah, I
But
suppose
yes,
that's true.
but anyway, it was funny to watch people like lose their mind. Oh, well, this person isn't on there, and this person isn't on there. How is this person so high on the list? And in not only in the Vinyl Den Facebook group, but also in another Facebook group that I saw this posted in, I kept commenting to people, "This is an AI created list. That's
Right.
why." Like it's, uh, it seems lazy to me as somebody that like whoever put that out there, like. Uh, they're using AI to create content for them. I guess just to be
Yeah.
kind of controversial, because that's kind
Yeah,
of
I
how
mean,
I
I
saw
don't
that
know.
list.
Yeah. Was Ringo Starr in the list? Because that would pretty much sum it up right there.
Hold on. I think I took a screenshot of it. Let me see if I can pull this up real quick, because
So
I'll run
I'll
down.
never forget, and I might be slightly misquoting this, but someone had asked John Lennon once if he thought Ringo was one of the great drummers around, and he goes, he wasn't even the greatest drummer in the Beatles.
Yes, yeah. They had Ringo
So,
Starr at number 9,
yeah,
number
see
9
that,
all time. They
and
had Buddy.
not that Ringo's a bad drummer, but he's a very basic drummer. You know,
I will say that
basic.
I used to think that same thing, and then the more I've listened to Ringo's playing style, there's a lot more nuance
Oh, of course,
in
there's
his playing
nuance, but it's
style than I
still.
think people give him credit for. Like
I don't disagree with that.
he is a very, and I've even watched videos of like more established drummers. They're like, oh yeah, people thought this about Ringo's playing style in this song, but here I'm going to play you how he played it, and then they like have a hard time replicating
Right.
his playing style for particular songs. So I mean, I think he was a better drummer than people give him credit for, because I think a lot of times his style, so like it was in the '60s also, was more watered down because of the style of music they played.
Well, and he's playing to what the vast majority of the songs written by Paul McCartney and John Lennon. So,
Yeah,
he's got to play to that. And yeah, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he's a bad drummer. And when I say basic, I'm not saying basic as a bad thing. I'm saying basic as in like there's no flair there.
yeah.
You know,
I mean, that's kind of it was a style
his
also.
job. Right. He's doing the job that he needs to do to make the song work. Would another drummer have done it differently? Most likely.
Yeah.
And would that drummer have been better or worse? Who knows? But as far as if you're doing a great drummers of all time, Ringo's low on the list, in my opinion. That's all. That's just based on the flair part of it.
Would I have him in the top 10? Probably not.
Right.
But I would probably have him in the top 20 somewhere.
Yeah.
Some other interesting ones. They got Keith Moon on here at number 4. They got Dave Grohl at number 7, which I don't even know. I came to talk about how much I hated this damn list, and now I'm talking about this list.
Yeah.
But yeah, Dave Grohl. Like Dave Grohl's on this list because he's popular, right?
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
He even admitted that
Taylor Hawkins is a way better drummer than him.
Well, he admitted that a lot of the drum beats on Nevermind he ripped off of like disco bands in the 70s.
Right.
Yeah. Phil Collins at number 8. Mitch Mitchell at number 10, which I think is a good pick. But what was that?
I was going to say, Phil Collins is another one of those where, even though he was playing drums in a progressive rock band, he kind of sat in the background. Not to say that again that it's a bad thing, but his drumming was relatively basic for progressive rock.
Yeah,
because it allows he's doing his job well enough to let everything else be bombastic and over the top.
Yeah. They had Max Roach at number 16, which I would have much higher on that list. Max Roach is an incredible drummer. They've got your buddy Lars at number 19, which I would not have Lars on a top 20 list for greatest drummers. Maybe drumming on a tin can, maybe like he did in St. Anger. And then they got Travis Barker at number 20. But if you look, I don't know, you probably can't see it on the camera, but like if you zoom in the top, it says according to ChatGPT. So like if you look real closely, you see it's a bullshit list.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to be fair, every list is a bullshit list because it's always going to be based on, personal opinion of a few, and it's never going to make anyone happy. So
yeah, that's the thing, and we've talked about it a bunch of times on the Vinyl Den. Is music is at least in my opinion, probably the most subjective form of art.
Absolutely.
You can take you can take 10 people that let's say you take 10 people that Metallica is their favorite band, and you have them rank a top 10. There's probably very little overlap between those 10 fans, right?
Right.
Like, so even fans that have similar tastes have vastly different musical interests. And I feel like so everyone is like that. So that's why, and I've done lists on, and we've done lists on the Vinyl Den before, and we even say that it's this is our opinion right now. It could change in 5 minutes.
I'm kind of upset because all the work I put into those lists, I could have just done it in Chat GPT.
Yeah,
All that wasted
just
time.
cheated.
I could have just cheated.
I will say that after I read that, I went to Chat GPT and asked it the exact same question, and it gave me a completely different list of 20 drummers. So I guess Chat GPT is the same as people out there.
Yeah, it depends on the mood they're in.
Yeah, ask it 10 times, it's going to give you 10 different lists. So
yeah. Fair enough.
So I guess this is not really a good segue, but there was with the Vinyl Den, we've become kind of a more established YouTube channel, I'd say. But I get like so every day, my wife's like, why you check your email way too much? It's like, yeah, because I get like I get the craziest fucking emails from people. Like, and I shouldn't say people because I think a lot of times they're probably bots and things like that. But I get the strangest like collaboration requests from. I'll just read through a list real quick of some of the products people have wanted me to pitch on the Vinyl Den, and I always say no because the only thing I want to, if I'm going to advertise anything on there or do any kind of review for anything, it's going to be something that's like relevant to the people that watch the channel.
Right.
But so I've gotten requests from, let me see if I can find my list on here. Robotic sharks, what the fuck is a robotic shark? I think it's like a toy robot that's like a shark, right? You can like put it in your pool or a lake or whatever like that. Timu was on me for like, I think it's how you pronounce it.
Timu, yeah, I think so.
For like 3 months, like every single week they were sending me requests to collaborate with them. Caffeine infused eye cream, which I was like, maybe because I guess I'm 45 now, so like,
like for under the eyes, for some reason I should have known, but I'm just picturing people like squirting cream into their eyes, like, no, man, I need to wake up.
No, nothing quite like that. Incredibly fake looking jewelry, like stuff that like looks worse than costume jewelry, right?
Okay.
A trampoline scooter, which was exactly what you would think it was. It was a scooter with like a trampoline base on it, like
that you could bounce while you're scooting.
I guess people you're just gonna fucking die, like scooting around this thing.
All right.
I've got a bunch of different dietary supplements that have been pitched to me. Slippers. I got an email request to do a slipper ad. And it was funny because they said in the email that they found me on TikTok, which, like, you got the wrong platform. Like,
right.
I don't even know if I have a TikTok account. So
I look at TikTok. I've never posted on anything on TikTok.
Hummingbird feeders. I had like a string of different hummingbird feeder companies contact me there for a while.
Hummingbird, humming music, maybe. And that, are they willing to pay you? Because I'm a shill. I'll do it. If you pay me, I'll promote anything.
Yeah, some of them were. Yeah. Most of them were like, "Hey, we'll send you a product. You do like a review video for it." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm not gonna review your hummingbird feeders." There was a company that I almost did. I almost did this one. I had a company reach out to me and they're like, "Hey, we make the CarPlay screens, for your car.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so it's like Apple or CarPlay or Android CarPlay you can do, but they're external screens, so you like mount them to your dashboard or whatever." I was like, I kind of thought about doing that because it was like they were going to give me like a percentage
of sales.
A percentage of sales plus free product, and I was like, I decided to pass on it. But
yeah, I'm totally. One of my favorite scenes from Wayne's World is when he's doing the, we don't sell out, and he's doing product placement at the same time. I will do that in a second. Yeah. So I have no pride.
I guess if you're a company and you're watching this video, don't email me, email Ian because he'll be a shill for
Well,
you.
just
But then again, Ian won't make any videos. So.
I will if I'm getting paid. No, just you're my secretary. We'll just go do through you if you see something like Ian will do that.
Ian's a shill. He'll sell out.
Ooh,
Speaking of
doing ads for butt plugs, Ian will do that.
Gotta test the products. There you go, Ian.
Oh well, I don't know about that, but I tested the product.
Yeah. Speaking of selling out and selling products,
mm-hmm.
So I have made fun of the Sex Pistols for a long time, right? Because the Sex Pistols put their name and likeness on everything. And there was a really famous interview with Green Day.
Yeah.
Where Billy Joe Armstrong made fun of the Sex Pistols and said something along the lines of, I am the Antichrist, buy some more of my merchandise. Yeah. Green Day have gone off the fucking cliff.
Oh, of course, yeah. They have their own coffee now. So
yeah, but I think it's even gotten worse than that. Ever since the 30th anniversary of Dookie, they have been plastering Dookie's logo fucking everywhere and on everything. I saw an ad a couple of weeks back now for those like igloo coolers, like plastic, like they had back in the 80s. You can buy a Dookie themed igloo cooler now.
Yeah.
So all those people that talked about or bitched and complained about Green Day selling out, now they really have fucking sold out. They'll do anything. They're the Ian version of punk rock, I guess.
Sure.
You want to throw money my way? I'll take it.
The difference is no one has ever thrown money my way. I've never been a shill because no one's ever paid me to be a shill. But, I'm just letting everyone know that I'm easy. So
it's just that easy to get sidetracked and talk about a bunch of nonsense. Because
I didn't even feel like that was a sidetrack. It was still music based.
Oh, I know. That's what I'm saying, though. It's like we haven't even gotten to our topic yet. So let's try. It's the very first episode, Ian. Let's try to get to our topic.
All right. What's our topic?
So what's our topic for today, Ian?
I just asked you that.
I know that, but I know because I came up with the idea.
So
do you know what it is?
Misunderstood lyrics?
Yes. Hilariously misunderstood lyrics. And
I have two.
I guess I should have had my wife on for this episode because she is saying lyrics to songs for years.
Right.
And I give her hell about it. My favorite one is when she was younger, the song Proud Mary. She thought it was Brown Berry Keep on Burning.
Well, I think the most popular one though is what's
Jimi Hendrix.
Well, no,
Purple Haze.
That one, because Ozzy even said that one.
Excuse me while I kiss this guy.
Right. No, wrapped up like a noose, or deuce or whatever. Revved up like a deuce, and everyone thought it was like revved up
douche?
like a douche or whatever. Yeah.
That's what they thought. Who was that? Was that God, I don't remember who that was.
I know, I drew a blank.
On who it is.
If you asked me yesterday, I would have been able to tell you.
I got some really funny ones though.
Okay. So I really don't have any, so you just hit me with them.
I pulled some of these off the internet, and some of these I could see, and some of them I'm like, yeah, not so much. We Built This City by Starship apparently has a really popular misunderstood lyric.
Okay.
So the real lyric is, we built this city on rock and roll.
Right.
The misunderstood lyric is, we built this city on sausage rolls. Which I think is just absurd. Like,
do you remember that commercial? It was, I don't even remember what it was advertising for, but they used Pour Some Sugar on Me.
It was ramen, wasn't it?
Yeah, it wasn't even. It was like Palsam Ramanama. It was like complete gibberish, is what the guy said. But ramen was it's. I don't know how people get there. I really don't.
What was the? I mean, there was a ramen commercial that used it. And I don't remember what it was though.
Maybe it was that.
I'll have to look that one up. But of course, Purple Haze is a really popular one. Excuse me while I kiss this guy is. Excuse me while I kiss, because it sounds like it.
Yeah,
the sky.
Ozzy said that's what he always thought it was. But he was using that as an example of how lyrics can be misunderstood sometimes, or sound effects can be misunderstood.
What was what was the Ozzy one that that they used? They tried to use in court.
That's what he was talking about. It was just a sound effect. He just made like this, like "get out" or something like that. It says the way the echo is, it sounds like shoot, shoot, shoot.
Okay,
because it's like an echo.
That's right.
So the prosecutor was saying he's saying get the gun and shoot. It's not what he's saying.
Yeah, that's not what he says.
It's just a sound effect. And even if he, honestly, even if he did say that, so what? It was 1980. You know, it would be more problematic if he said that now, in my opinion. But
yeah. Another one is from the Eurythmics, "Sweet Dreams," which I love the song. So the real lyric is "Sweet dreams are made of these," which is the way I've always thought it said. You know, that was saying.
It's apparently this, though.
Huh?
Isn't it "Sweet dreams are made of this"?
No, of these.
Oh, I always thought it was this.
No. But the there's Ian's misunderstood lyric, but the misunderstood lyric is "Sweet dreams are made of cheese." I guess if you're a big fat guy, you're like, yeah.
You know, it's funny.
These people are singing to me. I want some cheese.
So you listen to that song and you hear the mood that's implied from the actual music, and you're listening to these lyrics and you think they're singing about cheese.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying, though.
You know, even if it were the lyric, the music wouldn't fit the lyric. You know, it'd be like Metallica's "Enter Sandman" being like "Enter Rainbows."
Yeah,
you know, it just doesn't work.
Another good one is from Johnny Nash, "I Can See Clearly Now." The real lyric is "I can see clearly now, the rain is gone." The misunderstood lyric is "I can see clearly now, Lorraine is gone," which, yeah, I can kind of see that a little bit.
Yeah. Is Lorraine mentioned anywhere else in the song?
No. So it's, another one is from "Living on a Prayer" by Bon Jovi. The real lyric is "Doesn't make a difference if we make it or not." What do you think the misunderstood lyric is?
What was the original lyric?
It doesn't make a difference if we make it or not.
Doesn't make a difference if we're naked or not?
Yes. That's exactly it. That's the misunderstood lyric.
When I was a kid and that album came out, we would joke about that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we would make jokes. Be like, sounds like he's saying naked. We know what he's saying, but it sounds like he's saying naked.
It would make sense if you knew the original, like, or what the origin of "Slippery When Wet" was, which was, it was named after a strip club in Canada.
Oh.
That's why the Japanese cover is a, like, half, I think you get some underboob from a lady from a female on the cover.
Right.
But, which I always thought went better with the album name than the actual artwork.
Right, because it's just like water on glass or something, right?
It's water on I think water on a plastic bag, I think is what John Bon Jovi said it was. I think he just wrote "Slippery When Wet" on it. That was their album artwork.
Didn't seem to hurt the album sales.
No, no. And that's funny because sometimes, I guess this is kind of off topic a little bit. A lot of times that can really hurt an album. I'm trying to remember what the album. There's a Grateful Dead album. I don't remember what the name of it was. It came out in like 1980. "Go to Heaven" or something. I think is what the title of the album was. And it's actually really good. I'm not a big Grateful Dead fan, but it's actually a pretty decent album, and it charted really well. But it's got like the worst album cover in history. As the
worse
album
than Zealot Gene?
Yes. Yeah, because it's like a white photo of them, like, looks like they're getting ready to enter through the pearly gates in heaven. I don't know. For the Grateful Dead, it just didn't work. Right. But I think it really hurt the album sales. But kind of off topic of what we're talking about. Another misunderstood lyric from the Monkees, I'm a believer. The real lyric is "When I saw her face, then I saw her face, now I'm a believer." What do you think the misunderstood lyric is? Which I love the misunderstood lyric.
"When I saw her face, now I can't see her"?
No, you're close. "Then I saw her face, now I'm gonna leave her." Like, you ugly bitch, I'm out of here.
Wow. That's harsh.
Oh my gosh.
No more blind dates for him.
Yeah. This is another good one too from REM, "Losing My Religion." The actual lyric is "That's me in the corner, that's me in the spotlight."
Mm-hmm.
The misunderstood lyric is "Let's pee in the corner, let's pee in the spotlight."
I don't hear it, but sure, you know.
Let's talk. It's pee is all it is.
Eh.
I just thought it was funny because it's a pee joke, Ian.
Well, I mean, hey, you know, water sports are a very popular kink. So hey, some people like.
I guess so. It's Piss Drinkers Weekly, right?
Yeah, my subscription lapsed. I wasn't reading it enough.
So this is one I didn't misunderstand this lyric, but I've heard other people sing it this way, and I completely see how they think this way.
Okay.
So this is from Tiny Dancer by Elton John. The actual lyric is "Hold me closer, Tiny Dancer." The misunderstood lyric, "Hold me closer, Tony Danza." Which I can see it.
Sure. Elton John might have had a crush on Tony Danza at some point or another. You know.
I'm trying to think. There's another one. I'm trying to remember what song it was.
So the funniest one for me is, you remember the movie Jumping Jack Flash with Whoopi Goldberg?
Yeah.
So she's trying to figure this out. So the guy's using the screen name Jack, and he's like says something about Jack Flash. I don't remember. It's been a long time since I saw the movie. So she's listening to the song Jumping Jack Flash to try and get clues from it. And in the song he says, "I was raised by two thespians." I believe he says thespians. But she's like, "Raised by two lesbians? What?" And it was hilarious, just, you know, her delivery and everything. So I can kind of see how that, and every time I hear it, I know what they're saying, or at least I think I know what they're saying. But I always hear lesbians. Every time.
There's nothing wrong with that, Ian.
No, I'm just saying that was one of the funnier ones for me.
Yeah. I was trying to scroll through this list I saw online. Yeah, there's quite a few on here that are songs. I don't know the song, so it's hard for me to hear. Oh, here's one for "Getting Jiggy with It" from Will Smith. The misunderstood lyric is "Get a chicken with it," which I've never heard. I don't see it that lyric that way, but there's some of them just don't even make any sense on here. This is one from I've always known this lyric though, even when this album came out when I was young, and I've always known the correct lyric. So Stone Temple Pilots, "Creep." The actual line is "Everybody run, Bobby's got a gun." Apparently the misunderstood lyric is "Everybody run, Barbie's got a gun." Doesn't even make sense in the context of the song.
Well, after the Barbie movie came out, that would have struck fear to a lot of people, because there were a lot of people who hated that movie.
I still haven't seen it.
I haven't either. I mean, Greg Locke, the crazy pastor guy, he strapped a Bible to a baseball bat and then smashed a Barbie house on as a part of a sermon.
That makes sense.
How yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
He had to buy the Barbie house in the first place, so I don't know if it really hurt anybody, but
I don't know. There's a bunch of great ones out there. Did you have any more to?
No, I've been trying to find that "Pour Some Sugar on Me" commercial, and I can't find it.
Oh, the ramen commercial?
Well, it says it's a T-Mobile commercial.
That's exactly what it is. Now that you mentioned it.
Pour some shook up ramen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now that you mentioned it, yeah, that's exactly what it was.
Pour
I remember
some shook up ramen.
Yeah, I remember the commercial now, because we used to think it was hilarious because it makes sense. Like,
yeah, pour some shook up ramen on me. Or whatever. That was always a fun commercial.
Yeah, I remember the commercial, but yeah, like I said, it makes sense. And that's kind of the big thing with something like scrolling through some of those. I skipped over a lot of them because, like, the supposed misunderstood lyrics to make sense,
right?
Either in the line. Well, there's a lot of those out there, but
so for me, like, I would never have gotten that lyric wrong though, because maybe because we grew up with MTV and it always had it always showed the title of the song in the corner when the video would start. You know, so your brain's already, when you hear it, it's going to connect to what you saw. I don't know.
Yeah. Yes. You're also thinking, you also have to remember that, like, a lot of these albums came out like in a time period where, you know, either it's not like today where you can just pull your phone out and
look it up,
scroll along with the lyrics. Like, you pull out Apple Music and it'll read the lyrics to you as the song's going. So it's like, you probably don't run into a whole lot of that nowadays, but before, people didn't read lyric sheets. They didn't pay attention to that kind of stuff. So
I did.
Well, fine. I mean, in some instances, I did also, but
Right.
there's a lot of people out there that didn't. They just wanted to listen to the
And
song.
to be fair, there were a lot of albums that didn't have them printed in the liner notes.
Yeah,
especially of cassettes, because it took up too much paper and stuff.
That, and you had to get your magnifying glass out to read the lyrics on it.
My eyes, when I was a kid, my eyes were quite good. They're not so much anymore.
Not so much anymore.
Yeah.
Now that you're old.
Shut up.
But
no need to remind me.
Anything else to add there, Ian?
No, but I'm curious if there's any that we didn't mention that other people do have, if they put them in the comments. That would be curious.
Absolutely. Drop a comment. Let us know what some of your favorite misunderstood lyrics are. Like I said, I should have my wife on for this one because I'm sure she's got 100 of them. There was a song not too long ago. I don't remember the name of the song. It was like a song from the early part of the 2000s. And it was like just within the last like month that I like
figured out what I was actually saying.
Figured out the real lyrics to the song, and it wasn't that I was misunderstanding the lyrics. It was that the only version of the song I knew was the edited version of the song. I didn't know the unedited version.
Gotcha.
And that's one thing I always like to give my wife a bunch of grief for, is she always listens to the edited versions of songs. I remember she put on a Tupac record one day. She was like, had a bunch of kids over, they were like all in the pool, and she puts on a Tupac record. She's like, oh my God, I can't believe how bad some of these songs are, because all she ever knew was just the edited versions of them. So it's interesting that it took me like 20 years or more to finally realize that I was listening to an edited version of the song. It was a really popular song. I don't remember what song it was though. When we're done, maybe I'll look it up and try and find out. But I don't know. Any questions or comments, you can always email us. What's our email address, Ian? Do you even know it?
I do not know it.
It is the vinyldenchannel@gmail.com. Make sure you give us the old thumbs up. Leave us a comment. All that fun YouTube-y kind of stuff. But that's about it, man.
Oh, people can mention their favorite drummers too in the comments. Give us tons of comments. I don't watch our videos, but I do listen. I do try to read our comments.
Yeah. So let us know what you guys think. That's all we got, man. Until next time.
Talk to y'all later.
Peace.